Well, welcome one and all everybody to another episode here on Unpopular Review discussing NXT. It's ladies' night, so just basically call it Evolution over here. With
Yay!
myself, yes, we must cheer, we must applaud. Too bad we don't have automated applause here. I would have pressed that a million times. But you have myself, Sabrina Stella, the wrestling doll, the unofficial camera woman, the one of many names over here, and no boys on the show tonight, although we'll be talking about them, with my partner for the night, Cactus Katie.
Hi guys! Very excited to be here. Excited to have a girls' night and to bring on the matches.
Got to bring on the matches. We're going to bring in some love. Hi, George. Always the first one to pop in, even before the show starts. We love consistency. And yes, we agree. NXT was pretty solid tonight. And we got some love from somebody from the show. We got Freckle Sensei's popping in to say hey.
Thank you.
Hopefully he's still not upset at me for me being so happy to see my normal co-host popping in to say hi. But he'll have to get over that because
it's girls' night.
Somebody been working with for a year. But tonight is girls' night.
Yeah.
And speaking of girls' nights, we started off with some girls fighting going on with Fallon Henley versus Thea Hail for one of the spots for the NXT Women's North American Championship ladder match that we're going to have in Vegas coming up.
Yes.
And there was two of those solid. Tonight. Fallon definitely does better work. Yes, this was first of two that we had tonight. So this match is pretty solid. I think as far as wrestling, Fallon does better in-ring work as a heel because she definitely gets a lot more aggressive, which I do like. I just wish that would happen even if you're a face, because who says you have to be all baby like just because you're a baby face? But match was good. She was trying to do the old hit him with the chair thing, but I think she got inspired by Nia Jax last week on SmackDown, because before she could even do anything, that chair got taken away by Ridge Holland, and
that caused a huge riff, and they all got kicked out
because the ref thought they were going to use it on Fallon Henley, which distracts poor Thea Hail. Fallon gets the win to be put into the match for the very first mid-card title that NXT has had for women finally. And after that grueling defeat for Thea, the only thing that made it better, and I'm pretty sure that my normal co-host in the Great Grand Slam Poobah was very happy to see that JC Jane's normal now partner in crime in Jasmine Nix came in and gave Thea Hail a good old Pele kick in the face.
Yes, she gave it to her and reminded her of the old times for sure.
Yeah, the old times of us doubting that JC Jane could ever change in the first place. Ron being the only one believing in her changing, and us telling him that we were right and he was wrong, and him not accepting it. But despite everything else, what did you think of the match as a whole?
I really enjoyed this as an opening match. I thought Fallon had huge attitude coming in, which is perfect way to start the night. I loved her outfit. It would be something that I would have chosen, first of all. And she brought it. She didn't give a shit attitude. And they even made those comments on commentation because she showed it. But these girls just brought it all night to that match, and I enjoyed Fallon winning it. So
I think it was definitely the right call, especially with this new heel turn that she's been taking on into being the whole, I'm not going to worry about everybody else. I'm just going to worry about me. But hey, all I can say is it's definitely doing good for her in terms of her in-ring work, because it's definitely gotten a lot more aggressive.
Yes, it worked for sure.
Yeah, what better way to make your in-ring work than to not give a shit about anything. Oop, that's one for this word jar. But after that, we get a little segment, Axiom, Nathan Frazer meeting with the D'Angelo family. They Frazer congratulates Tony D for winning the Heritage Cup. And they gently give a little rip to Axiom, asking if he ever won the cup and riffing on who would call themselves a kid, a little poke to his former self when he was on NXT UK. And it ends with Stax and Luca Crucifino getting a tag match tonight.
Yes, within like the next segment is ready to go. Let's go, boys.
Well, in NXT, you got to be prepared for anything and everything. Some people look at it as a development brand. Hopefully, it can get the respect of being a third brand as it should.
Yes, for sure. But the D'Angelo family, they're strong. And they're there and want to be known.
Well, as someone who has seen Tony D and Stax go at it a few times in the ring in person, I can definitely say they are strong, formidable people. And speaking of...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I actually looked it up today, and Tony D'Angelo is only 28 years old.
He's as old as I am.
Well, he's much younger than I am. But I was shocked. I was like, wow, you don't look like you're 28.
Yeah, he really don't. I thought he was a little bit older, not in a bad way, but he doesn't look his age like that.
Yeah, I read that.
What do I know?
So, but the next, we go to the tag team championship match with the D'Angelo family and NX, which I believe this should have been more of a main card match. I think this was full action, very flashy, great match. Loved it.
Yes, Nathan, I will say this. Nathan Frazer, and this is before he got into being in a tag team with Axiom, definitely has a tendency of making matches that he's in, even if he's not in the main event worthy, which I have said before in previous episodes of when he was either opening or was in the middle of the show, that it should have been the main event because the people were going crazy. Everybody loves Frazer and Axiom, just like people love the D'Angelo family, which it was a contender for match of the night already, and we're only on match 2.
Agree.
But it was definitely a good match, and they do win with a good old classic inside cradle on to Channing Stax Lorenzo to keep those belts on them. But hey, now they got Tony D with the Heritage Cup, so let's see what shenanigans and tomfoolery they can get into with them.
Yes, I think a lot of people like Axiom is because he brings that old school wrestling vibe of pure flash, and everybody likes that. I think it's a good balance between the two.
Yeah, everybody who doesn't go by the name the executive consultant.
Well, he's always got to be the one.
I feel like for him, he's like a Vince McMahon kind of guy that he likes them big, strong guys type things, or likes everybody that's a villain.
I mean, there's always got to be one or the other side, right? If not, there wouldn't be any excitement.
Yeah, well, I'm the one that's dealt with him in person more times than I would like to say, whether it be out and about or watching wrestling. But it makes it entertaining to scream in his face and not get in trouble for it.
Hey, we're girls. We can get away with a little bit more, can't we?
We can, but I choose to behave myself every now and then. We got some love from one of our loyal fans, lovely lady in Charmaine.
Hi, Charmaine.
It says a hello to you.
Hello.
And we got another regular on our show in Walter, a.k.a. as Ron calls him, Warman. Nice to see you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And after that spectacular match, we get the Good Brothers coming in to attack the champions and beat them down with some.
They weren't letting them. Yeah, they were not letting them out of that ring without some kind of revenge to make the storyline.
They're like, hey, we're not being utilized on the SmackDown main roster because we have no storyline whatsoever. Let's go down to NXT and get some relevance on our name after such a while because we were brought in to help AJ, and after that, we've been reduced to nothing.
I feel like we've seen that a couple times tonight.
Yeah, that'll happen when you're on the main roster. You're not being used, so that's why they call you back down to NXT to do something. After all that fun, we get Robert Stone talking to one of the women in the back trying to get another client to maybe work with him when Lexis King walks up to trash talk about Chelsea Green, which disrespectful to Lexis King because I'm a Chelsea Green girl. I love her. I love her in-ring work. I love her character work. I feel like she should be taken more seriously as a threat in the ring. Because, yes, she is a funny comedy character.
She is well-rounded.
Show us her chops. If anybody wants to see that woman go at it, that woman has gone against Penta in a ring, which most people wouldn't think looking at her. But anyways, Lexis comes up saying Chelsea Green doesn't even want anything to do with him and that he's never going to get anywhere with anyone but him. And I just wanted to slap that man's face silly because I just want him to shut the hell up, which means he's doing his job as being the bad guy.
Yes, it's very petty, though.
Well, he has nothing better to do. He's undefeated, but he's only undefeated because of who he is as far as
Oh, you mean entitlement? History. You mean entitlement? I feel like we know some of those people around here.
Well, maybe some in UPR, some that I've seen wrestle, some that I've gotten to know in and out of wrestling who, as I've gotten around them more and more, just became more and more entitled, which was very fun.
Yes.
Insert sarcasm here. But we get Ava Raine to the rescue, rolling up, telling Lexis that he has a match tonight, and he'll find out who when he gets in that ring. And Stone says he wants to hand king his ass, and Ava points out he didn't do great in his last match, so they're going to find the perfect opponent.
And she stormed it up, but we got to get through the North American Next Champ first, which was a slugfest, as they called it.
Well, I mean, you got one big guy, one semi-big guy, and then you got one teeny tiny guy who's very fast and flies like the speed of the wind to everybody on this show knows I love immensely in Wesley.
He is amazing.
Yes.
Awesome. At one point I turned away and I'm like, where did he go? And then poof, there he is. He's got it.
Well, as most people who watch NXT know, he was in a tag team. Some things came up that we're not going to talk about. He had to find his way. He found his way back. He became North American champion, and he had to vacate the title. So he never technically lost it, but he had to vacate the title. It was going to be out for a year, but came back quick from injury. Supposed to be out for a year, came back 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
But we did have a big old slugfest with all this going on.
It was a bloodfest for sure. And all I have to say is, was it Coffee?
Joe Coffey.
Yeah, Joe Coffey. Who needs their face on their groin? Who needs that?
I don't know. I could think of somebody who used to do that with on their gear, but instead of the guys' faces, the wives of the guys' faces.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, it's a good thing that already happened, and we're not going to visit that ever again.
No. Yeah, but I guess when there's a near fall, they'll get a bird's eye view of who is doing it, right?
Yeah, that'll happen, which there's just some things we don't need to see.
No. But Josh Bridges, not a bad guy to look at. Not gonna lie. I don't mind him being on my screen.
I like watching him wrestle. I just don't look at him that way.
Well,
I do look at Wesley a little bit more like that, but I just like to look at him. I don't want him like that anyways. Besides, he's married. I would never try to step into someone's marriage like that. I am not a homewrecker.
There you go.
But all I can say is we had a triple threat match to determine the number one contender. And then we get two number one contenders. So I was like, why didn't they just make it a fatal four-way for Vegas in the first place? Instead, give us this tomfoolery of an extra match.
Right. And then, Oba is on the commentators. Yes. And he is just like puzzled. He's just puzzled. Like, what do I do? And Ava at the later just comes out and says, good luck.
You gonna need it.
Jeffrey.
Have fun fighting off two guys. Again.
Again. I mean, at least he got to see what it was going to be like. I mean, he literally just saw it.
Yeah, now next time he'll have to go through it.
Front row seat.
And the best part is, like, everybody in the audience over there, he didn't have to pay for a thing because it was free.
Oh, of course. Yes. But Bridges had some potential rib breaks from a couple weeks ago, a match, and he held himself pretty good until that end for being injured.
Well, I mean, if you can work through it long enough, you definitely can push through with all that adrenaline and stuff. I mean, we had Finn Balor do that in his cage match with Edge last year. We had it with Cody Rhodes with that broken with that torn pec against Seth Rollins. We've had it with Becky Lynch with her match against Rhea Ripley. She had a fever and she was sick, but she was still wrestling. Meanwhile, Rhea was dealing with a panic attack before the match too.
Yes.
So,
I mean, that's just girl power. We can fight through anything. So,
yes, we can. We can fight through anything for anything. And if it all goes well, hopefully we can fight and get Evolution too. Because we do need that.
Yes. But going back, Wes literally ran the second half of that match. He was all over it. He had great moves. They were flash. They were hardcore. He held his own against those two guys.
Well, I mean, he has gone up people like that and the likes of which we have seen before in people such as Tommaso Ciampa and his former partner in Timothy Thatcher, who is not as big as Briggs and Coffee. Well, about as big as Coffee, but he's held his own before. So I can definitely say Wesley does know how to work with the best of them and the biggest, and so to speak.
Yeah.
What up, nice man?
There you go.
It's nice that the men here of UPR are showing their ladies some love.
Yes, we very much appreciate it.
I mean, someone's got to. Otherwise, if we don't say anything, they think we're mad at them. You want to know how you know when we're mad? If we tell you that we're mad.
But then they have to listen to us.
Well, if they just listen, then there wouldn't be a problem. What can we do? We try our hardest. They just the ones that make it harder for themselves.
Absolutely. I feel like there's just people who just want, they want to be part of this so badly.
I know, right? But what can we do?
Yeah. It's girls' night.
Well, speaking of girls, we had a quick little thing with Carmen and Natalia. They're being interviewed. They're saying Carmen says they're ready. Natty says that she doesn't give herself enough credit and that they really bonded and that they're going to win tonight. Carmen, I love you. Please don't trust Natty. I like Natalia. Don't get me wrong. I do like Natalia, but I wouldn't trust her for the tag team to save my life because I will say this every time I watch the Rumble. My number one rule for anybody that's in the Rumble, don't trust Natty. Because she will throw you out quicker than you can say one.
And that's why she holds the Guinness World Record, right? All for yourself.
Any Guinness World Record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, I guess if you had to pick a partner, you might as well pick your twin. They literally look like Barbies tonight.
Well, Tiffany's not down there anymore since she's up in the SmackDown main roster, so somebody has to look like a Barbie. Anyway, speaking of when they try to look like a Barbie, but in a gear that looked like velvet that I just could not even take seriously. She's working out, talking to herself about how she's going to beat Jaida to take that spot for the ladder match.
Oh, no. I was Miss Parker, as they kept referring to. I was her biggest fan all through this match. I was so proud of her. She did phenomenal.
Yes, she did very much phenomenal. So we will be discussing that match right now. Brinley Reece versus Jaida, which I will say Jaida had my favorite gear of the night. Yes, it's all black gear. People are going to say, oh my God, that's so creative. Pick the all black gear. Well, so what? You can do a lot with black. Black is a very versatile color. I'm wearing black right now. I mean, I'm technically wearing someone's merch. I don't care, but it's still black.
Still black.
And yes, the logo was just a ripoff of the Wu-Tang logo, but everybody does it, just like the NWO picture.
I'm a big fan of all black. It's slimming. It's sexy.
It's classy. Nothing wrong with it. It never goes out of style.
Exactly. Yes.
Who do we got winning a King of the Ring, Liv or Becky? I think the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour should end with her getting that belt and then taking over the Judgment Day one by one.
Bingo.
I like Becky, but it's Liv Morgan's time to shine. And so that way some of the guys at UPR can shut up about how much Liv Morgan is so mid.
Yes. She Becky, I feel like, is too entitled. She shouldn't even gotten that title. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, you got to give a little bit of the chase to make people more interested.
Yes. Yep. Well, I mean, they didn't even know if she was even going to be coming back. At one point, there was rumors that her and what's her baby's daddy name? I forgot his name now.
Who, Liv Morgan or Becky?
Becky's.
Oh, her husband, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth. They were just going to be like, just gone with the wind. You never see him again. And then you see him at the Kentucky Derby. You just never know. I mean, with those two, they're gone. So, I mean, you know what? Enjoy life, bud. Enjoy life.
Well, let's enjoy life some more, talking some more about this match, which it was a pretty good match. Brinley held her own. Jaida definitely is the powerhouse of the two of them in that match. But it doesn't end well for Brinley because Idris and Malik do come out to try to help her, but unfortunately she gets distracted. But with her hip attack, which she still needs a name for it, and hopefully it's not a bad one. It can be cheesy, it just can't be bad. There's cheesy good, there's cheesy bad. Hopefully it's not a cheesy bad name. So now we get Jaida Parker in the NXT Women's North American Championship ladder match. So far we have 3 heels and 1 face for that match.
Yes.
So hopefully it doesn't turn into 5 heels and 1 face in that ring, because that's going to be a disaster for the making for Sol Ruca so far.
There was a lot of near falls in this match. It was turn after turn after turn. I'm like, get on your feet, girls. Come on. Well, we don't have to be. I know I'm putting my foot in my mouth here. I know I'm putting my foot in my mouth, and it's totally going down the wrong road, but they gotta get off their backs.
Hey, if you need to get up and do whatever you can to ensure that you win. So I understand. I'm not going to take it like that. Some people that might be watching will take it like that, but that's just because some people don't know how to think otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yes, no, lots of near falls. I thought the move that was really cool, as I call it, it was a sit and split on the bars, where they had Reece laid across and then Parker just went down on her. It was just crazy. She did. It was shocking. Yes.
Well, I can't say I was that shocked to see that Jaida was the one to win. I think this is definitely the better call of it, especially with how dominant she definitely has been.
So dominant. So dominant.
Here and there. But you can definitely say that she's got something. She's got something. That's why they put her in without the mud, and that's why they pushed her so soon. Yeah, a lot of these young ones are proving that they got something. I mean, Obafemi's been in the company for not even a year, and he's already North American champion, and he's a dominant champion, and he's a good
dominant, champion. For sure, dominant. I mean, he could be the new face. I don't know if he'll be here long, but he's pretty solid there.
Well, they need to keep solid people there to help put over the ones that aren't always the best in the ring, because like I saw in a picture a while ago, there are lots of people that are talented that are not signed, and then there's some that are signed that are not very talented.
Yep. Yes.
I can't wait to see the look on Rhea Ripley's face if Liv does become Dom's new mommy. Ooh. Although he might call her a different name, or she might have him call her that right to her face. I wouldn't be surprised.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised there, Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey.
Neither would I. As far as heels that are in this so far, that would be my heel pick. But if they put in more faces, then I can determine my pick that way.
So Parker's your heel, and my heel is going to be Fallon.
That's fair.
Yes.
So
Go ahead.
Speaking of Fallon Henley, she's talking to Jasmine Nix backstage, and Jasmine's telling her how she made a point of waiting until after that match to get her revenge on Thea Hail, which I don't know what's going to happen once JC comes back after recovering from getting hit in the nose, but if those two team up together, we'll just see what happens.
It could be double trouble.
It could be Absolution Part 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm all for a strong woman match. So let's go. Bring it on.
And I'm all for a strong woman faction.
Yep.
So we get a quick little vignette of Wendy Chu after being out from TV for so long before due to injury. And I'm just waiting to see what she will do. Hopefully she'll do something better. And who knows? Maybe she'll have a good finisher name for her finisher. Call it anything else besides the CM Punk go to sleep. So we get a hype reel from WrestleMania 48. We get a Roxanne Perez hype reel. Ava Rain's on the phone in the office. She's talking about how everything's in place. And Roxanne's going to find out her challenger for next week. Then Lexis King. Well, go ahead.
Ava worked hard tonight. She had a lot to do.
Nobody can say that Ava Rain done work hard. She might not be the greatest in-ring worker despite all the training that she had, but she is one of the hardest working people in the room.
Yes. Yep. But that leads us into Stone.
Well, that leads us first in Alexis King making an ass of himself, saying how he's on a hot streak and that we all know whoever walks through that curtain is going to join a long list of gentlemen who have fallen to the king, that he's virtually undefeated. Robert Stone comes out, but to my surprise, it was Dante Chen. The only reason why I'm surprised is because from what I'd seen, first of all, I was surprised because after I'd gone back after a while, I saw Dante Chen getting cheered for, and I was like, when did he turn face? I'd always see him getting booed by everybody. And usually he's put in there to job out for whoever is in the ring to make them look better. But he held his own against Lexis King. I was happy to see that with a little help from Robert Stone, Lexis King got his ass kicked.
Yes, and I thought Stone was going to jump through that ring at one point. I was like, uh-oh, but he didn't. He knew better.
Nope.
But they did talk about, his family in Singapore and how, he's been waiting for a match like this and to prove to his family that, what he's doing is good. So to me, he did a great job.
He did what he was supposed to do, which thank goodness, because I was tired of anytime I would see the word Dante Chenko on my screen, I would think, oh no, he's going to be squashed in 5 minutes and he's going to be jobbing out again. I was just like, thank goodness he is not jobbing out tonight. No. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
Yep. Ugh. Well, next we talk about the main event, the Barbies.
Oh, but before that, we do have to talk about Trick Willy getting in the ring. He says that Noam Dar, when Noam Dar dropped him from behind, he took that on the chin.
Right.
And then last week, that when Noam Dar got attacked backstage, and if anybody knows how that feels, it's him. And he wouldn't wish that on nobody. So he's going to say it one time and make it loud and clear that he didn't attack Noam Dar, and if he did attack him, he'd be unconscious. And he wouldn't have been holding his leg. He'd have a size 15 Jordan tattoo on his forehead, because that man don't attack from behind, because that's what chicken shits do. Noam Dar. Ah! So speaking of that, the rest of the metaphor come in the ring. Jakara says that he's got these crusty, musty tricks. They're not. They know that either him or Javon Evans attacked Noam. Aura tells Williams to grow up and admit that he's a lowlife who doesn't deserve to be champion. But Lash speaks up for him and says that he didn't attack Noam, which makes Aura and Jakara look at him and be like, why were you defending him? Trick comes to her defense. I mean, we had an episode of Maury when they were on the Supernova special, that talk show that Noam Dar liked to have so much. And Joe Coffey makes an entrance and he says, we're probably wondering why he's here. And he says, you're about to find out why. And then Gallus comes out and attacks Williams in the ring because they're bored and catering, because they have nothing better to do, because they're so incredibly boring, so lackluster, even with Coffee being their mouthpiece.
He just came out of a match. He just came out of the match.
But Javon Evans comes out and makes the save. They go and try to fight until the numbers game overwhelms them, and he hits a high cradle German suplex.
Yes. Beautifully done, though.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Gallus on my TV screen just makes me want to turn off my screen, or makes me wish it was a picture thing so I could shift my attention to the commercial because of the noise that it makes, so I don't have to pay attention to those three.
I agree with you. Those three are a lot to watch. They're not even really that good looking. Maybe that's why they're on this division now. But
No, they're in this division because they brought them in to make the tag team division seem strong. And although they're good in the ring as far as being a team, they're just boring. And I just wish that they were like coaches in the back or something, so I wouldn't have to deal with them.
They're way overweight and too old for this.
Yeah, well, if they want to do that, they can go in the indies where a bunch of people like that do that. Anyways, we got Robert Stone in the back giving Dante Chen a pep talk about his win. Ava comes in to congratulate him. He thanks her for the opportunity, and he gives Robert Stone credit, and Dante shakes his hand so we can see a possible potential new client, which means Dante Chen's going to get a good push.
Yes.
We need to push for our Asian men over here.
Absolutely. And he showed himself very worthy tonight.
I mean,
he even got a little emotional at the end.
I mean, how many Asian men have gotten a good push and were taken seriously as opposed to being turned as a joke? I mean, look at Tozawa. I mean, I was watching the Cruiserweight Classic a while back because it was popped up on my recommended on Peacock. I saw how serious of a threat he can be in that ring, and then over time, he got turned into a joke people forget how good he is because he gets turned into a jobber who gets squashed in 5 minutes or less. Just ask Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, that's what happened. She had a match with him and she squashed him down.
That's very unfortunate for her.
Well, I mean, what can you do? But now we shall talk about the Barbies, as Katie so eloquently called Natalya and Carmen going up against Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice, which how many tag partners is Shayna going to have within this next year, and how many is she actually going to stick with?
I mean, Barbie had Ken, but that doesn't mean she didn't have any shows behind the scenes.
Well, that's not what the Barbie movie told us.
Well, that's true. That's the new version.
Well, that's the version that definitely would have helped a lot of girls growing up. So anyways, we get Shayna Baszler versus Lola versus Carmen and Natalya, which match was fine. However, I think it kind of died down a bit and kind of brought down the whole atmosphere of everything. I felt like that should have been put like maybe a little higher up in the card, or maybe somewhere in the middle.
Yes,
to kind of have that up and down going on, because you don't want it to be up and then go down.
No, I think we talked about this earlier. It was a mid match for me. It was not a main card event, but there's what was this, the second women's qualifier of the night?
No, this was just a tag match because they've been feuding for a while. Match. Because it started with Lola running her mouth, Natty coming in. They start fighting. They have a Battle Underground match. She brought in Natty brought Carmen to help. Lola brings in Shayna, and they fought outside. And so they just been going back and forth for weeks now.
Yes. Now I think about it, if later on through this match at the end, that's why it was a main card event, because of how it ended. That's why they put it at the end. There was that full. Well, I mean, I still want to talk about the whole match first, and then we'll talk about the ending. But I mean, Lola, she was just fast. She's very fast, and not taking away from Natalya. She's got her title. She's got her name. She's got her Guinness World Records. She's there. She can represent herself, but I feel like she's just done with it. Like, I'm not a big fan. And Shayna, she's just not interesting for me.
That's fair. I feel like Shayna was more interesting when she first got in NXT with her own horsewomen.
Yes.
When she was pushed as being one of the few 2-time NXT Women's Champions that they have, which I will say, her match with Rhea Ripley is what got me into liking Rhea Ripley in the first place for the NXT Women's Championship, which was a good match.
Yes.
But I feel like if she were to team with somebody and had somebody else be a mouthpiece, that maybe she could get pushed into being someone that could be taken more seriously and not just looked at as a joke. Hopefully something good comes out of the match that her and Zoe are going to have against Bianca and Jade, since they did win the #1 contendership tag match on Raw last night.
Yes.
So only time will tell what'll happen during the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring tournament, which hopefully whoever wins this year gets a better push than the ones that won prior.
Yeah. Their makeup is just cheesy to me. I think.
Yeah, the eye makeup's a little much.
It's too much. Yeah. I'm just like, my 3-year-old can do makeup on her dolls better than that. Actually,
well, with all the makeup tutorials that are happening nowadays, that's not very surprising. A 3-year-old could do makeup better than I could now, but that's besides the point. But match was fine. It was just a disappointing way to end the night. It had just been, if they had a better with the way that they've been feuding on and off for weeks and have worked together, they would have. You would think that the chemistry would have been a little better, that it would have felt more intense, but it just got pushed and put on, and there were expectations, and it just wasn't met. It was like with Jimmy and Jay in WrestleMania this year, so many expectations because it was the third time brothers feuded at WrestleMania for the first time in 15 years, but the expectations were let down. But this one was also a bit of a letdown, at least for us.
It was just not, the pop wasn't there for me for a main card pop the night finale. And I think it was all because it was leading into something more. But you don't want to end the night on that.
No, they didn't want to end the night on that. That's why after Lola got pinned by Carmen, when the match was over, Shayna did go to help her up, but Lola roundhouse kicked her in the head to knock her out while Lola was dancing over her. But when
she got a little cocky there, I think it kind of backfired.
Yeah, well, she's Cuban, she's Latina. We can get a little bit cocky at times, but she got proven wrong when Shayna Baszler was up and ready to fight after she stopped to dance again outside of the ring.
She did,
and locked her in a Karafuda clutch, and she was choking around until she was stopped by the referees.
And the ref didn't even see it coming.
I'm thinking to myself, this is Shayna Baszler. This is one of the few two-time NXT Women's Champions who have won via submission with the Karafuda clutch, and y'all didn't see that coming. But Ava definitely saw that coming, because while they were getting pulled apart multiple times, she said if those two want to have a fight, they can have one at Battleground. However, Shayna said that it should be a
underground
match from the UFC Apex Arena in Vegas on Saturday, June 9th. Which hopefully
that in there. Mm-hmm.
Which hopefully this UFC kind of match thing goes better than the last time they tried that. Because not everybody that watches wrestling watches UFC. So when they did that with Ron and Shayna, and they were like, oh, the rules of UFC apply here. Not everybody watched it. So when I saw that, I didn't understand the rules of it. So hopefully they explain that better. I mean, they can explain the Heritage Cup rules every time they have it. Why not explain the UFC rules for people who don't watch UFC?
I think the big merge between the two of them was the Ronda Rousey era. Mixing the UFC, bringing her across.
During her first or her second run is my question.
Ooh.
First run was better. Second run was just meh.
I think more people realized what she was doing with the second, but I think she was better during the first.
Everybody will say that she was better in the first run. I mean,
yeah.
I went to the last SmackDown of 2022 with a friend of mine, and I saw her come out with Shayna.
Well, she was hurt. She wasn't hurt as much.
She wasn't hurt as much. She went up against Raquel Rodriguez.
Yes.
And as that was happening, I was like, oh my God, have somebody else take her down. Have anybody. Even have it be Charlotte Flair. I was like, if Charlotte comes out, I will lose my mind. And she came out and I lost my mind and I started cheering for Charlotte.
That's okay.
Despite how people know how I feel, because I felt like she was a little overhyped in the sense that they are having her win so much solely to beat her father's record, which if they would just count her NXT title reigns, then she would have already beaten it ages ago.
Right.
But they didn't want to. They had the quick match. She won. And
they want to keep
Ronda Rousey's career. Well, Ronda Rousey's career went downhill from that. She can keep going even if she beats her father's record. It's not like she's ever said, oh, once I beat my father's record, I'm done.
Well, yes, I agree, but they're not going to be using her as much. They want, people are counting the numbers. So she's keeping her relevant. But yeah,
Ronda Rousey keeping herself relevant, complaining how bad the WWE is and that she's happier and better off in independent scene, which we've only seen her in the independent one time since she left.
She is totally just trying to get money.
She has enough money. She could go back to doing some MMA stuff somewhere for all we care.
Oof.
I don't see her in person wrestling. I'll be fine with that.
Her head's been bashed so many times. Oh.
Well, she could probably find a good doctor to see what's going on in that head of hers after being bashed in so many times by the likes of Charlotte, Becky, etc., etc.
Well, that's true. But there was a lot of promotions, and Jeffrey is mentioning this. We did see that
Sexy Red, because that was planned after she had mentioned NXT on Twitter. They're like, oh, we're gonna bring her on. I had forgotten about that, mainly because I don't follow her like that. I'm not a Sexy Red fan. I don't listen to her music. I don't listen to a lot of new rap music because I feel like it all sounds the same, that I can't understand a word they're saying. But
not my cup of tea, but I'm all for whatever needs to be done to keep people happy
and keep people interested, which is why they bring people like her in, and anybody that talks about how much of a fan they are of wrestling and all that.
Yeah. But we I think
some people want to live the dream. I don't need to live that dream. I live the dream vicariously through the people I record and put videos up on YouTube. And I occasionally do some valet work. That's the closest I will do to it. Yes.
Wow. Go, girl.
Well, that's the Sabrina Stella in my name. That's my valet name.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know how I got Cactus Katie. It just happened. I'm sure the boys have their own
before, but hey, this one works better for me. Plus, it's easier for people to say because some people couldn't say Dahlia.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm not even going to try.
No, that's fine. That's why I changed. That's part of why I changed and made it easier. Plus, I felt like I needed a change in the gimmick, in the character.
And we can all do that, and that's awesome.
And that's what helps us grow and improve and everything. Yeah. So that is the entirety of our NXT programming. Hope y'all enjoyed this ladies' night that we had going on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me tonight. I had a very fun time discussing all things NXT.
Yes.
Must wear the NXT championship on my neck because it's one of two championships that the women are now going to be fighting over there because they decided to take the belts and just take them up to SmackDown, have them be unified because they're supposedly cursed. If y'all have had women defend it more than 5 to 7 times, then they wouldn't be cursed.
Right? Girls are representing. So, but
we had a decent tag. We had a decent tag division down there when the belts were still in place, but now that they're gone, everybody's focusing on being a singles run, which isn't bad, but
Well, you guys can catch me tomorrow with Dan the Man and Venomous Vinny on the AEW Dynamite review. So.
Is there anywhere else that people can find you on social media or things of that nature?
I am on Instagram, and it's just Cait and nothing fancy. I'm just a mom who likes wrestling. So
hey, there's a fan base for moms that like wrestling.
No.
There's a fan base for everything.
Every time I mention that I love doing this, people are shocked and they are like, go for it. They love it. So I don't even know what my Instagram is. Okay, it's Cait, CAITANNE 90. So.
And there you have it.
Yes.
Anybody that wants to find me via social media, you can find me on YouTube and the Unofficial Camera Woman. You can find many a wrestling match that I have filmed throughout Central Florida and occasionally South. you'll see names that have popped up on AEW, TNA, NWA, New Japan, wherever. And even some have popped up on WWE, whether it be on SmackDown or Raw, to be jobbers or to be background characters or work with the other people. Somebody that I had filmed before was recently in the program with Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes and was the one that got put through the table and or destroyed by Cody Rhodes in the ring. I know the person that got destroyed by Cody Rhodes on SmackDown in Jacksonville.
Oh, that's cool.
And they put an article out and everything, and he didn't know about it until I told him.
Wow.
I was like, nobody told you?
Yes.
Hey, somebody has to keep the boys in track. That's why they have us.
That's right. That it was too much just the two of those two boys. I had to come in and take care of it. So,
and that's why I work, and that's why I do it just one. And there he is.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody. And
I'm sure he was very happy in the beginning of NXT when Fallon Henley beat Thea Hail for that match.
It was a good match.
Yes, you can see the rest of our programming. We have the Mike Knox show on Mondays at 6 o'clock. We have the Raw review right after Raw. We have NXT on Tuesdays after NXT. Dynamite on Wednesdays, which you will see Katie, Dan, and Vinny. We have SmackDown reviews on Saturdays at noon. And we do not have Collision anymore. We need to fix this little commercial here, just like we need a new upgraded intro for us because that is no longer my name on there. But you can catch me on Tuesdays and whenever else they'll have me. Maybe I'll join a top 5 in the future, depending what we talk about. You can catch this one tomorrow, like we've said, with Dan and Vinny. And you can see all the insanity ensue here on Unpopular Review.
Thank you, guys.
We wish y'all a good night.
Yes.